FA やトレードの動きが活発化している MLB。インターミーティングに出席したエンゼルスのミナシアン GM がインターネット番組に出演しました。先日獲得したタイラー・アンダーソン、ジオ・ウルシェラ、ハンター・レンフロー、カルロス・エステベスの4選手についてと、大谷選手もコメントしました。移籍はないことと、WBC 出場についても歓迎しているようです。
Angels have been busy. How about this? Look at the additions here. They won just, I think, 78 games a year ago, but they've been busy. Tyler Anderson had a great year with the Dodgers. We just mentioned Esteves, and then Gio Urshela, great defensive infielder, primarily at third, but I'm sure they'll potentially move him around with Rendon there. And Hunter Renfroe, he's got some Sean Casey pop.
That's right.
In that bat. So we are pleased to be joined by Perry Manassian, who is the general manager in Los Angeles. And Perry, thanks for joining us. Let me ask you off the bat, you guys have already done some work coming into the winter meetings that your fans can see. So then what's the trip like for you, having already gotten a jump start on kind of reshuffling your roster?
Yeah, it's we're on the go. We're trying to do more. We need to improve this club to where we're competitive, and we're in a really difficult division. We know that. Obviously, Houston's the class of the league, the World Series winner. Seattle's done an outstanding job, Jerry and his group, with what they've been able to accomplish there. Texas, I know CY really well, was with him in Texas when he played, and they're obviously significantly improving. Oakland is one of the better run organizations in baseball, in my opinion. David and his group do a great job. So I'm very aware of what we're up against, and with that being said, we really like the additions we've made. We feel like we're significantly better, but there's always room to continue to improve.
Perry, with the talk of the Angels maybe being sold before opening day, does that affect your offseason plans at all?
Not for me. I mean, for me, it's business as usual. My ownership has been outstanding since the day I walked in the door with, the word no hasn't been said much. So, there's been some things that have been presented this offseason, some opportunities early, which sometimes it's hard to do. I mean, Steve's been in the position, he understands. And I've been allowed since the beginning, since the bell rang, to improve the club. And we jumped out early, did a couple things that we feel like we needed to do to plug some holes. And hopefully we can continue to do that as this offseason rolls along.
Perry, with the new rules, the banning of the shift, do you see your guys getting more hits or giving up more hits because of not shifting?
I think it depends on the player. I think it depends on the pitcher and the stylistic approach of each individual player. So I think speed, obviously the guys that can run. I talk about Shohei, and Shohei had probably 10 to 15 bang-bang plays at first base because he can really run. And now with the bases being a little larger, those might turn into hits instead of outs. So I think it'll help some. I think it might not have that huge of an effect on others. I'm really interested to see how it turns out.
So my thought was for the contact pitchers.
Right.
They don't get a lot of swings and misses. Ball's going to be put in play. We're not shifting, so there's going to be more holes for them. Tyler Anderson's that kind of guy. Not a lot of swing and miss. Is there a part of you that thinks that he may have a little bit of regression but still be good enough? Or how do you look at what he can be without shifting on defense? Even though left-hander, not as much an issue.
Great question. We feel really good about Tyler. Obviously, he had an unbelievable year. 2.5 ERA, all-star. It's more than just pitching with him. It's what he brings to the clubhouse. It's the competitiveness, the edge. I felt like we were lacking a certain amount of toughness on the mound. And we've got a young, impressionable group. I think our pitching, especially our rotation, might be is probably the most underrated thing on our club that's talked about media-wise. We've got some really talented guys. And one thing about Tyler, he'll find a way. And he always has. And we think he's going to be really productive.
You mentioned Shohei Ohtani earlier and his speed. I mean, this guy is a phenomenal athlete, but you were part of the organization when you brought this player that, quite honestly, we've never seen. I mean, people talk about Babe Ruth, but even Babe Ruth didn't do what we see Shohei Ohtani doing on a night-in and night-out basis. How important is it to you and the organization to make sure, because fans hear a lot of chatter about, if they could get a huge haul back for Shohei Ohtani if we move him. How important is it for you to surround Shohei Ohtani to make him want to stay? I think after this year, he'll be a free agent.
It's important. Obviously, Shohei, Mike, I know there's a narrative that we need to get them to the playoffs. I think it's more than them, and they'd be the first ones to say that. It's about the organization and the whole group, from amateur staff to PD to the international staff, all the above, the business side. It's about everyone, and these are two great players. Shohei's not going anywhere. My kids would never talk to me again if that happened. So he's not going anywhere. He's going to be an angel, and hopefully not just this year, but going forward.
Can you tell us what it's like? I mean, because you get a chance to see it every day. As a player, I know it was tough enough just hitting left-handed. When I used to see switch hitters, I'm like, how do they do that? And then I see Ohtani, like, how does he do that?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, can you take us through like watching this guy go through his routine as a starter and as a big league hitter?
Yeah, I mean, nobody is more committed to his craft. You know, I've been really lucky. I've been in a major league clubhouse for way too long, right? 35, 36 years I've been in a major league clubhouse, and I've had the privilege to be around a lot of great players, and the one common theme with those great players is they're never satisfied, and he is never satisfied. And walking into the door, you know, we felt like eliminating any type of limitations was really, really important. Freeing him up, letting him go play, and you know, he's one guy that I really trust, and I'm happy he's playing in the WBC. I think it's great for the game. Anytime fans that love the game of baseball can watch him play, I think is a huge bonus. So, you know, I'm looking forward to see what he does this season.
I could make a case that Anthony Rendon may be the most important player to any one team to the result of what could happen for a season. He's so important to you guys from a financial point of view, the investment, to the production, to the defense, all of that. Where is he in his ability to come back and really impact this team?
He's feeling good. I was actually just texting with him 2 minutes ago. You know, he's a really intelligent person who understands the game and knows players. He's somebody I bounce ideas off of. Mike, Shohei, all three of those guys I bounce ideas off of. He's my pick for comeback player of the year. I think he's going to have an unbelievable year. We all know how good he is when he's healthy, and he's had some injuries that aren't not necessarily common. So I think he's in the weight room. He's getting strong. He's focused. He wants to win. And anybody that knows him and is around him, we're a way better team on the field and off the field when he plays. There's just a certain level of maturity and aptitude that he brings to our club. And you know, he's one of those guys where if somebody's not doing something the right way, all he has to do is give you a look, and you stop. And he's a big part of this club.
I mean, and speaking of Rendon, I mean, it was 3 years ago at the winter meetings. I was sitting on this set. I mean, Billy Elper was the GM at that time, but that deal got done. I mean, the deal was announced here at the winter meetings. And let me ask you, because Steve touched on the injuries that he's had, but it just seems like the Angels as a whole, especially last year, were dinged up. And when we say it often, you know, we often throw the qualifier out there: if you can stay healthy, if you can stay healthy. But there has to be a part of you that says to yourself, if we could just have these guys all on the field for 140, 150 games,
right,
we could make a huge step, because, I mean, we got big names, I mean, on that roster.
Absolutely, and that's something we've talked about all offseason, really concentrating on the middle of our roster and thickening the middle of our roster. Obviously, trying to improve the floor with certain things also. We've been very active in minor league free agency, you know, but with that being said, I know everybody loves the splash, right? We love sitting up here and talking about the big deal and this all-star player, but baseball's different. You know, you need a lot of players. You know, you have to withstand injuries, and I failed in that aspect the last 2 years. I have not put together a club that's good enough to withstand a couple injuries to our players, and hopefully this year with the additions we've made, versatility is becoming a positive for us. We have a lot of players that can do a lot of different things. That was the attraction to Gio. You know, his ability to play third, slide over to first, play a little short if we need him to, play some second. He's willing to go to the outfield. Same thing with Renfroe. Renfroe can play all three outfield spots. Hunter's a competitor, and they both love to play. And then, you know, Tyler and Carlos, those guys we feel like are great fits. And again, it's early in the offseason. We haven't seen Santa yet. You know, but with that being said, you know, we've done some things, but hopefully we continue to push and keep adding.
I appreciate the candor, I mean, from Perry Manassian, because a lot of times, you know, you can get coach speak or GM speak, but I mean, that was tremendous stuff, great insight into what the Angels organization is trying to accomplish, not only here at the winter meetings, but for 2023 and beyond.
来年には FA となる大谷選手。ミナシアン GM は翔平はどこにも行かないと明言しました。決死の覚悟で残留に向け動くのでしょうか。それには勝てるチーム作りをする必要があります。もちろん大谷選手はエンゼルス最終年になる可能性もあり、ミナシアン GM の来季にかける思いは強いでしょう。トラウトと共にプレーオフに進出させなければならないとの言葉も響きました。レンドン選手のことも触れていましたが、メールのやり取りをしており良好な関係なんですね。来年こそ復活してもらわなければなりません。来季こそプレーオフ進出に向け、次はどのような選手を獲得するのか楽しみです。